You're on.
Call a meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Records show all members are present. The attorney's present. Need a motion to accept the minutes for May 17th.
I'll make a motion that we accept May 17th minutes.
Second.
Been moved to second that we accept May 17th minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Mr. Klein Peter, it's all yours for the public hearing.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. My name is Neil Brook, and I am a certified grant administrator with Klein Peter Consulting. A few bullet points I need to read for the record, so if you just bear with me. Notice of this public hearing was posted in the LaPorte County Herald-Dispatch on May 25th, 2021. The purpose of the public hearing tonight is to discuss the application for grant funding through the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs. We are applying specifically for a water grant in the amount of $700,000 and will be contributing $999,655 in the form of a bond anticipation notice. Our proposal was due on April 29th. We want to make sure that the citizens are fully informed and have the opportunity to voice and concern or support for the project and ask any questions that you may have. Funds available for the water and wastewater program through OKRA are limited and applications are very competitive. Our application is due on June 25th. After all the applications are submitted, OKRA scores the applications and ranks them from the highest score to the lowest. They then start distributing that round of grant funding and award all grant money until they run out of grant funding. If the town is successful with their application, award announcement will be on August 12th. And now I get to turn the meeting over to Carla Vincent, who will explain in more detail.
I'll just stay over here if that's okay.
No.
So I'm just going to go through just an overview of what has happened and what will happen with the project. As Neil said, it's a water application. An engineering study has been performed to review the existing conditions, identify needs, and evaluate alternatives and recommended solutions. Here's the following is a list of those recommended solutions. At the water treatment plant, the disinfection system is not compliant with current codes. The disinfection system is in need of improvement to ensure that the water supply stays in compliance and can reliably provide a safe and healthy water supply. The filtration unit is in need of improvements to the steel, the concrete, and the coatings to reliably filter out iron for the water supply. Iron is present in the water supply and must be removed by filters to avoid groundwater issues. The water tower foundation is in need of rehabilitation. We have identified the worst 2 water mains for leaks, groundwater, flow restrictions and concerns related to health and safety. New water mains are planned both on Dartmoor and Belmore from Meadowbrook to Hamilton, which will include looping the water main system that will further improve hydraulics and water quality. 17 new fire hydrants and localized water main improvements are planned throughout the entire town. These hydrants are non-functional, difficult to find parts for due to their age, or are on small water mains that don't provide sufficient flow and are not compliant with current state codes. Lastly, water meter replacements are planned for each water system customer. The existing meters are beyond their useful life. Don't measure all the water that passes through the meter, and the water meter technology has increased dramatically over the last decade. The improvements will include an automatic reading system that includes many benefits, including less chance for reading error, improved reading efficiency, leak detection, and owner set monitoring intervals and options for enhanced pressure and chlorine monitoring. As Neil said, the total project cost is roughly $1.7 million, and the grant will provide $700,000 for those improvements. That's all. I can answer any questions, maybe.
I don't have any questions.
I do.
Public has questions?
Who's paying for it? Who's gonna pay it back? So it's not free money.
No.
So does that mean our water bills go up even more?
No. No, this will all be constrained on what the last increase was.
So you premature increased it, or?
No, you hadn't had a water increase in 20-plus years.
So
Your water increase
so
isn't high.
That increase that you guys already increased it is gonna cover this grant?
It'll cover the bond, and the payments of bond, yeah.
So why would?
Everything's done on bonds, Steve. The sewage plant, the water plant's always bonds. All these towns and stuff's always on a 20, 30-year bond. Nobody can afford to go out and spend millions of dollars and stuff to do anything. So the towns go out and they get bonds. They borrow that money for that 10-year, 15, 20-year period or 30-year period, and they make the monthly payments on it. And then usually by the time it gets paid off, it's time to redo it again and stuff because everything's wearing out. So this is nothing different. The water plant needs some dire attention, you know. And same thing with the sewage plant. We just did the $800,000 there or whatever it was, but
I'm just thinking it's gonna go up. I think with every loan you get, there's always a loophole, and I think the people of this town already can't afford to live. It's sad.
well, it's no different than anywhere else. But I can tell you that people can move out, but you've got 10 other people waiting to move in. We don't have any empty houses.
Well, what about the people that's been here for 50 years?
Right
What about
here.
the people? Yeah, so you just want them to move out?
And I spend my $350 a month on utilities myself. Sometimes $400.
My mom spends $500. She's one person.
No.
It's not right. It's not right. It isn't right to do this to the people of this town or anybody.
What's not right is to sit back here, being elected people and stuff that are supposed to take care of the town, and you're supposed to have people that have fixed the town over the years, and nobody does anything, and everything falls apart. And sooner or later, you have to spend the money, or the state to come in, and they'll take over the utilities, and then you're going to be paying a heck of a lot more than what you even thought about here.
I mean, I own a house in LaPorte, and I pay an electric bill on that house, and it's nothing compared to this.
Move to LaPorte.
That's the wrong thing.
I don't get it, man. I mean, you're laugh it off, but you know, my mom's on a fixed income. And
So am I.
they're charging her
So am I.
$500 a month for one person. One lady that probably takes a shower once a day, washes once a week.
How is she using $500 worth of monthly utilities and
You
stuff
tell
like
me.
that?
Now all of a sudden, since you changed the meter, it's $300.
That was,
But you've been charging her for a year and a half? I mean, we can laugh about it all day, but people are really struggling.
we
No,
can't.
you don't have to tell me about that.
You
You
know?
don't tell me about my wife hadn't worked in 16 months and stuff. I know what it's like to lose $70,000 cash,
No,
you know? But I'm paying my utility bills.
no.
I know that there hadn't been utility raises in here because past councils sit on their butts and didn't do anything for 20-plus years. And then sooner or later, it hits you in the butt where you have to do something.
I mean, there's been a lot of lines break, and it's been on the homeowners.
That you're talking about laterals that are the responsibility of the homeowner.
That's a joke. That's a joke. You can't even, it's from the main to the house. The meter, from the meter is theirs. A water line that they can't even touch underground breaks, and it's on the homeowner. That ordinance is a joke. That protected the town of Kingsford Heights from spending money on replacing their junk lines. And now they're begging for a loan to replace some stuff that they should have been paid for. Because they're getting our money every month.
So what is
Where
this?
did that money go?
So the thing is again, we're sitting up here and we're trying to figure it out. But at the same time, how do you suggest that a deteriorating infrastructure gets fixed, who pays for that?
Over time, you guys have got our money.
You're absolutely right, and
So
that is
you-
done to sustain what we had.
No one
which was-
charged enough
which
to
was-
fix the equipment?
Absolutely. That's
Steve,
exactly
Steve, think
what it
about it.
boiled down to.
We've been here 16 months.
This was a problem before we sat in these chairs.
Oh, I'm not
And in order
arguing
to,
that.
and in order to fix it, I wholeheartedly am sympathetic to the people of this town in regards to what has happened. But the meters that have been broken and now are getting replaced, now you said it yourself, now your mom's bill goes down. All the time that she was, I understand that, but at the same time, whose fault was that? Nobody came to the town council to get any kind of adjustments. Nobody came to the town council asking for the stuff to be
Of course I did. Of course I asked for new meters.
This is the first time that I've seen you at a meeting here.
Why do you have to go to a meeting when you
How
can
else
go
are
right
you-
in the town hall and say, hey, my mom's bill is $500. Give me a meter, let me put it on there.
Business is done here at a public meeting. We all
Man.
have to talk about it. We all have to have a say in exactly what's gonna happen with this town. We had to raise the rates in order for us to sustain our utilities.
So where did all that lost money go that you guys charge my mother every month? Where did that money go?
To pay our employees, to keep the
Pay your
infrastructure.
employees. So
to
you
keep
rob my
her
mother
in-
$200 a month to pay your employees?
It's,
I don't think anybody up here has robbed anybody of anything.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense to you. Now she's getting $300 a month bills, and before she got
What
$500?
didn't make sense to me, Steve, is when we took over in here and stuff, and we had all negative numbers and all the utilities, and the town was 2 months off of bankruptcy, and it was on the verge of losing the utility down to sewage plant because it was operating off a 3-inch trash pump. And we have collectively together, in the last 16 months, turned everything around. We had to raise the rates to do that, but the rates hadn't been raised in 20 plus years. You're not paying the same amount for a car that you did 20 years ago. You're not paying for the same thing on a loaf of bread. You know, I said in the meetings when we were running for election, it's a lot easier for a town council to raise the rates and stuff 3 or 4% a year, and people can fathom that and eat that, rather than go up and hit them with 50, 60, and 80% and stuff 10, 15 years later. You know, because that's a hard hit. But it put us in a place where you were in a rock and a hard spot. You would have lost the utility, and the town would have been bankrupt. We had a girl from the State Board of Accounts said, "You're 2 months off of bankruptcy." I don't know how. I can honestly tell you, I don't know how our employees' checks in the beginning, when we took over in January, February, and March, weren't bouncing at the bank. It was pitiful. This town was flushed down the freaking toilet in about 6-8 years' time.
Years of neglect.
Yes,
And now the people today pay.
Exactly.
exactly.
That's exactly what happened.
That 108% increase was because we had to do something with the sewage plant, or have IDEM come in here and start writing more the town wrote a $50,000 fine from IDEM because they were flushing turds out in the back of the sewage plant into the thing. I read the report where the town of Kingsford Heights was killing wildlife, aquatic life, and possible human life by their actions. $50,000 fine. You know, so then IDEM comes in here and stuff, and we had to hire this daggone unit for IDEM. They dropped their fine down to $3,000, I think it was, but they didn't tell you that you had to hire these other people, and they were paying them $18,000 a month to come in and run the sewage plant and do the testing. In the end, it cost the town about $100,000 because of the sewage plant wasn't being run correctly, because nobody was checking on it. It's not like that now. You know,
So the increased rate that you already increased is gonna totally pay the payment on that.
yes, absolutely. It's already been checked into. Absolutely.
I hope it's
The
been
water
checked
rates
well.
came in, they come in 10% every year, doesn't it? They go up for the next 3 years or so or something.
the next rate study could even show that wages could be decreased. And if that happens, then that's also a benefit for the town. The chances are likely, but it could happen to where we're at the point to where we need to be to make sure that we sustain our employees and we sustain the utility and make sure that it keeps on running. But that's something for the rate study to talk about. If you were here when the rate study was done by Buzz and everything, and you would have saw that we were what was it, $5,000 a month for water, $5,000
Yeah.
a month losing for electric, $20,000 a month for wastewater, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was an extreme amount of money that we were losing. That had to be done. Whether we liked it or not, it had to be done. And not only does it affect your mom's checkbook, it affects ours. So it's not like we sat up here to do it just to hurt everybody, because it comes out of ours too. We live in this community as well. So I mean, you guys also got to take that into consideration when it comes to the decisions that we make up here. It does affect each and every resident in this town. And it was a hard one. It was a hard one.
Very hard. And I can tell you, we have discussed among each other and stuff on the sewage rate. And I honestly believe that before our 4-year term's done, that we probably can collectively go back and adjust that sewer rate back a little bit. But we're gonna take care of that sewage plant and make sure it's right for the next 20, 30 years where we don't have to worry about it.
If you were to go back there from when we started and what it looks like today, you would definitely be praising the employees that I'll turn around and thank Randy's one of them for the way that it looks now. You've got crystal clear water coming out the back of that thing. Yeah.
Come on, man. Let's be serious. Anyways, what I was saying, what I wanted to say was, when I bought my property, maybe 10 years ago, that church down there was 3 foot of water on the floor. I took my pool tester and tested it. The town told me it was groundwater. I took a 4-inch pump, I pumped it out. The next day I went back, 3 foot of water, right? The main was broke underneath the floor. They wouldn't help me fix it. They would rather let water run. So I cut it out, dug a trench, put a new main in, right? The next month, I get a $1,500 bill. That's what they said. I used $1,500 in water. I come down, I tell Rosalie, hey, there's no way. Tim was the head guy. He says, there's no way. That's what you used. It's three houses there. That's what you used. I bitched until they brought me new meters. They changed the meters, guess what? $500 bill, electric and water. If I would have just paid that bill, if somebody comes down and says, hey, my meter's bad, change it.
Well,
See, you got guys riding around every
the point that
day.
we got right now is if we come down and change your meter, the chances are we're gonna put a meter on, it doesn't work worth the crap right now anyway. So now we have to estimate the water just to be able to stay function and be able to get enough money coming into the water department.
I've changed a lot.
That's why we're going for a grant. We're gonna go to these grants, we're gonna get these meters put on, we're gonna change it over to digital, and everything will run right straight through the office. They'll know exactly what's going on. Somebody won't be coming to read your meter for your water, but they will.
It'll all be the same kind of meter. Right now, the town's running 7 different meters.
Yeah.
You know, and the parts aren't there. The parts aren't there.
I mean, I've changed them.
Well, you know how the insides are with the gears. I mean, they get wore out. You don't get your accurate reading on how much water is actually being used. So as soon as we go to digital, we'll be able to know exactly how much water is being used in each house. And have a little bit more control of what's going on with the water situation, because right now,
I just hope it don't just,
I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to.
you know, because you go get that loan and they tell you, oh, this is a 15-year loan for a car. And in the end, they don't tell you about the hidden daily interest. They don't tell you about the surcharges. They don't tell you about none of that stuff.
I don't know, when I buy a new car and stuff, I know what my payment's gonna be to
Yeah,
the
I
penny
know.
when I
You're
leave.
smart, Dennis.
When
You're
I leave,
smarter than
when I
that.
leave, I know what my
You're
payment's
real
gonna be.
smart. You know? I just hope you're right. That's all.
Anything else? Anybody else? Anybody else, any comments on the public hearing? Last chance to comment on the public hearing. We'll close the public hearing then. Amber, you got something for Dennis Otten and the band?
So that would be the introduction of your ordinance.
The 2021-2?
I don't have that. No, that's the 37 page.
Right.
I
20,
don't have the title of it.
She said no, that one.
which
Yeah,
one?
that's the ban ordinance right here.
Which one?
The 37 page, and
Okay.
this is where you're gonna go out for your, to sell your, to get the bonds. So that
Ordinance.
ordinance needs to be passed tonight.
Yeah.
You'll need 3 readings. Yeah, you have to do 3 to read it.
Ordinance number 2021-002, an ordinance concerning the construction and additions and improvements to the waterworks of the town of Kingsford Heights, Indiana, the issuance of the revenue bonds to provide and the cost thereof, the collection, segregation, and distribution of the revenues of said waterworks, the safeguarding of the interest of the owners of the said revenue bonds, other matters connected therewith, including the issuance of notes in anticipated of bonds and repeal ordinance in consonance with herewith. Need a motion to accept ordinance 2021-002 on its first reading. The public has been passed out. This is a 37-page ordinance. I'm sure you don't want to sit here and listen to me read 37 pages to you.
I make a motion that we accept the ordinance, is it 21-1
-2.
-2?
I'll second that.
Been moved in second, we adopt ordinance 2021-002. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Ordinance number 2021-002. Can we do that when she abstains?
That's why I was giving you
Yeah,
that.
the reason I'm doing this because we got so many bonds out. I mean,
What bonds do we have out?
you got the sewer,
That's it.
and you're gonna have this.
So when you abstain for something, that means like you have a conflict of interest or something. If you disagree with it, then it's gotta
I
be.
disagree.
Okay, so then what you're gonna have is unless you, okay, so that's your first reading. So your second reading is you're gonna have to have unanimous consent from everybody here to proceed with second and third reading. If you do not have unanimous consent, you cannot pass it tonight. You're gonna have a special meeting later this week or next week with your 48-hour notice.
So it's gonna get passed, it's just be 48 hours later.
Correct. So that, you'll need a motion to suspend Robert's Rules of Order and read second and third reading by title only. And if you don't have a unanimous to that, it's your first reading tonight. And you're gonna have another
What's the
reading.
problem that you have, Evelyn? I mean, we have to have these bonds so that we can get things
We've
going.
agreed all the way up to this point.
I've never agreed.
You agreed at the meeting when we had over the town hall.
I agreed for the sewer plant, but the water plant, I
We've been
never
talking
said
about this
anything.
water plant for the last couple of meetings that we've been sitting here.
Well, I must have
We've
been
had the meetings at the
damn, 'cause
town
I
hall
started
too,
yelling.
special meetings, and did it too.
It's my right to, if I don't want to.
Well,
I
we understand that, but I mean, you've been sitting right here as much, just like everybody else. I mean, you should understand that we're all going for this bond to get this going. I mean, there's no,
Joe,
there's
you vote the
nothing.
way you want, and I'll vote the way.
Well, I
want.
understand that, and then we'll just go through the procedures that we have to go through, then it's no problem. I just
Okay.
wanted to understand what you was.
So is there a motion to suspend Robert's Rules of Order to go forward with this ordinance on the second and third reading?
I'll make an order. I'll make a motion
make
that
an
we
order.
refuse it. or-
Second?
Second.
Been moved in second that we suspend the rules, Robert's Rules of Order to accept ordinance 2021-2. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Robert's rules. To suspend Robert's rules. Go ahead.
You and I?
Aye or
Are you
nay?
an aye or an A?
No, go ahead.
Take that as an aye. Ordinance number 2021-002. Reading by title only. Second
So
reading.
when you go ahead, that you, just for the record, that was an aye, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
An ordinance concerning the construction and addition of the improvements of the waterworks in the town of Kingsford Heights, Indiana. The issuance of revenue bonds to provide the cost thereof, the collection and segregation and distribution of said revenues of the said waterworks, the safeguarding of the interest of the owners and said revenue bonds, other matters connected wherewith, including the issuance of notes and anticipated bonds and repealing ordinances inconsistent herewith. Motion to accept 2021-2, second reading.
I'll make a motion that we accept ordinance number 2021-2 on its second reading.
I'll second it.
Moved in second, we accept ordinance 2021-2 on its second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Ordinance 2021-2, third reading by title only, an ordinance concerning the construction of additions and improvements to the waterworks of the town of Kingsford Heights, Indiana, the issuance of revenues bonds to provide the cost thereof, the collection, segregation, and distribution of the revenues of said waterworks, the safeguarding of the interest of the owners of the said revenue bonds, and other matters connected wherewith, including the issuance and notes anticipated of bonds and repealing ordinances inconsistent herewith. Motion to accept ordinance number 2021-2, third reading.
I'll make a motion that we accept ordinance number 2021-2 on its third reading.
I'll second it.
Moved in second, we accept ordinance 2021-002 on its third reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carried. Ordinance 2021-2 is in effect. The ordinance that we did for the ARP money, evidently the state changed the way they wanted to get things done, so now we have to repeal an ordinance and then do another ordinance. So Kingsford Heights Town Council, ordinance number 2021-3, repealing ordinance number 2021-1, creating an ARP coronavirus local physical recovery fund to receipt funding awarded to the town through the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Whereas the federal government has recently enacted the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, as a result of which the town of Kingsford Heights, Indiana is anticipating receiving a federal government assistance as a result of the financial impacts the town sustained from COVID-19. And whereas the March 18th, 2021, the Indiana State Board of Accounts issued State Examiner Director 2021-1 and memorandum to Indiana counties, cities, and towns regarding the accounting process for ARP funding, and whereas pursuant to the aforementioned State Board of Accounts guidance, each unit of government that receives an allocation from the Corona Local Virus Physical Recovery Fund under Section 603 of the Social Security Act, as added by Section 9901 of the ARP, shall establish by ordinance a separate grant fund to receive ARP funding, and whereas the need exists to now establish an ARP coronavirus local physical recovery fund for the town to receive ARP and to comply with the aforementioned directives recently issued by the State Board of Accounts. Now therefore be ordained by the Common Council of the town of Kingsford Heights, Indiana as follows. There is hereby created a American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 Coronavirus Local Physical Recovery Fund, which shall be known as the ARP Corona Local Physical Recovery Fund number 601. All monies received in the Corona Local Physical Recovery Fund must be receipted to this fund. In accordance with Section 603 of the Social Security Act as added by Section 9901 of the ARP, the monies of the fund may only be used for the following purposes. Subject to paragraph 2, except provided in paragraphs 3 and 4 the Metropolitan City Non-Entitlement Unit local government shall use the funds provided under a payment made to the section to cover costs incurred by the Metropolitan City Non-Entitlement Unit local government or county by December 31st, 2024. I can skip all that. The town shall develop a plan that will provide the details for the use of funds in compliance with the above stated limitations, which will formally be adopted by the town by means of resolutions approved by the town council. Before money in this fund is dispersed pursuant to the plan, the money in the fund must be appropriated for the purposes stated in the plan. Ordinance number 2021-1 enacted on April 19th, 2021 is hereby repealed, adopted this 7th day of June 2021. The motion to accept ordinance 2021-3 on its first reading.
Make a motion we adapt. Ordinance 2021-3.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance 2021-3. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance number 2021-3, repealing ordinance number 2021-1, creating an ARP Coronavirus Local Physical Recovery Fund to receipt funding awarded to the town through the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Need a motion to accept ordinance 2021-3 on its second reading.
I'll make a motion that we accept ordinance number 2021-3 on its second reading.
Second.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded, we accept ordinance number 2021-003 on its second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carried. Do we do all three of that tonight too?
Yes.
Ordinance number, do I have to suspend the rules or anything, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably should have done that before.
Yeah, okay. So we need a motion to suspend Robert's Rules of Order to read the third reading of ordinance. Second and third reading of ordinance 2021-003.
I'll make a motion that we suspend Robert's Rules of Orders for the second and third reading of ordinance number 2021-3.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we suspend the rules for Robert's Rules of Order for the second and third reading of ordinance 2021-3. So on ordinance 2021, or all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Second reading of ordinance 2021-3, an ordinance creating an ARP Coronavirus Physical Recovery Fund to receipt funding awarded to the town through the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Motion to accept ordinance 2021-003 on its second reading.
Second and
You're
third.
redoing, he's redoing.
I'm
the motion.
redoing it, yeah.
Redoing the original motion.
That's because we should have suspended the rules first.
What?
So we're gonna do the second reading.
Second reading
Yeah.
again? All right, I'll make a motion that we accept ordinance number 2021-3 on its second reading.
Is it 3 or 2?
We're on two.
We're on to the second. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Been moved and second that we accept ordinance 2021-3 on its second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance number 2021-3, creating an ARP Coronavirus Local Physical Recovery Fund, receipt funding awarded to the town through the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Or need a motion to accept ordinance 2021-3 on its third reading.
I'll make a motion that we accept ordinance 2021-3 on its, what reading was it?
Third and final.
Third and final.
The third reading.
Thank God.
I'm going to second it.
Been moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance number 2021-3 on its third reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance adopted. That was my fault. I got halfway through there and thought about that. I went, oh. What's next? ARP resolution. Resolution authorizing the application submission of a local match commitment. Resolution of the town of Kingsford Heights, Indiana, authorizing the submittal of the.
That's not the one.
Nope, bloop, bloop, bloop.
That was the one I sent you today. That was the one that the money's gonna be designated for stormwater usage.
Let's see how that's done. Okay.
I'm trying to find it. If I can find it electronically, I'll read it for you.
Well, anyway, on the ARP fund, that we just made the ordinance for so we could get that money, that was a award to the town from the federal government. We ended up with $288,000 out of that, so.
You have no signature.
No, you have to
You
open up
almost
the
have
door
to
so
step
much. yeah.
outside.
You wanna do that, you wanna do that other one while I try to pull this one? Here we go.
Which one?
There's the other one. You've got two resolutions, so you can work on that one while I pull the other one up.
The one I was originally reading? Resolution authorizing application submitted and local matching commitment. Resolution of the town of Kingsford Heights, Indiana, authorizing the submittal of the WDW application to the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs, addressing related matters. Whereas the council of the town of Kingsford Heights, Indiana recognizes the need to stimulate growth and maintain the sound economy within its corporate limits. And whereas the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended authorizes the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs to provide grants and local units of governments to meet the housing and community development needs of low and moderate to income persons. And whereas the town of Kingsford Heights, Indiana has conducted or will conduct public hearings prior to the submission of the application of the Indiana Office of the Community and Rural Affairs, said public hearings to assess the housing, public facilities, and economic needs of its low and moderate income residents. Now therefore be it resolved by the town of Kingsford Heights, Indiana, that the town council president is authorized to prepare and submit an application for grant funding to the addressed water improvements to execute and administrate resultant grant, including requisite general administration and project management contracts and agreements pursuant to regulations of the Indiana Office of the Community and Rural Affairs, the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Town of Kingsford Heights, Indiana commits the requisite local funds, the amount of $990,665 in the form of $999,665 in the form of bond anticipation note as matching funds for said program. Such commitment to be contingent upon receipt of the WDW funding of the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs, adopted by the town of Kingsford Heights this 7th day of June 2021 at 6 p.m. Need a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing application submission of local grant commitment.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution authorizing application submission and local match commitment.
For a second.
I'll second it.
Been moved in second that we adopt the resolution authorizing the application submission and local match commitment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All ayes? Okay.
Always. Second.
fast.
Dennis, will you go, you, give me a second, you can go on.
Okay.
Go back to it.
The number 9, the Board of Public Works or Board of Public Meetings by electronic meetings that we could, they've authorized government agencies to go, if you can't attend a meeting here at the meeting, then you could be in Michigan City at the zoo and stuff and say, okay, I can attend the meeting by phone. I don't really see where it applies to us right now because we're not set up for that here for doing any kind of electronic meetings or anything like that. So,
It's completely up to you. It's a policy there if you ever want to adopt it, so.
yeah, if we get to that point, then I'm not sure how long that will last though, because you could make it to where your officials are all over the place.
No, it's got. if
It's
you
got
put it,
stipulations where it's got-
stipulations in it, It's not.
Yeah.
You're gonna basically table this.
Yeah, because we're not set up for it or anything right now.
Yeah, you have to have the electronic capability of
Yeah.
kind of streaming live here. I found it.
Okay,
You want me to just read it?
sure.
I'm not sure what resolution number this is gonna be, Dwayne, but it's entitled Authorizing the Use of the American Rescue Plan ARP Funds. Whereas the town of Kingsford Heights, Indiana will be receiving funds from the American Rescue Plan, and the town is expected to receive 2 phases of funding in the amount of $145,000 for each phase, for a total of $290,000. And whereas the town council has established a plan to allocate all ARP funding to wastewater improvements for the town. Now therefore be it resolved by the council for the Kingsford Heights, Indiana, that by virtue of this resolution, the town represents that none of the ARP funds received will be used for matching funds for this Oak Grove water construction project. The town designates the $290,000 in ARP funds to be used for wastewater improvements for the town. Adopted this day, June 7th, 2021.
Need a motion to accept resolution number 2021-4.
I'll make a motion that we accept resolution 2021-4.
Second.
Been moved and second, we accept resolution 2021-4. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We gotta do 3 readings on that too?
Nope, it's just a resolution.
The local match commitment, do we need to read through this or
Let's do that one.
Which one is that? Is that just the form?
just a form signature page?
No, I would just make a motion authorizing by the whole board the signature of it.
Need a motion to allow the town council president to sign the CDBG signature page for the water grant program.
I'll make a motion that we allow the town council president to sign on the CDBG signature page.
I'll second it.
Been moved to second that the town council, allow the town council president to sign the CDBG signature page for the water grant. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed. So I don't understand it yet. This is the same thing we had prior to this one, right?
Yeah, this is just signing off on the grant.
It's a submission of it.
Huh?
Submission of it.
So who's on the match committee? Who would be on the match committee?
Match committee.
Here, Oprah local match committee.
Commitment.
That's commitment. So all in favor?
I said aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
You're opposed? Ayes have the motion carried. Okay, I believe that's everything for you guys then.
Yeah, I got
You
some.
did everything, right, you?
Yeah, and then if you'll send Mike the resolutions you passed tonight, send it to him in the morning, and then I think we'll be all set.
Good? Okay,
Okay, thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Crittenden.
About the ordinances. First off, it's the middle of a pandemic. Okay? And you guys hire an officer that writes ordinances and tickets. Don't talk to the people. Don't talk to the homeowners. Don't ask them what's going on. That's not us. We need-
Which ticket are you, what,
First off, the one that really made me mad, it wasn't even me. I'm a big man. I'm a strong man. So what he did to me, I don't care, okay? But what he did to Siobhan Edwards over there on Larchmere, she just lost her sister, okay? She taking care of a mentally retarded kid, okay? She got one brand new car and a 2008 car, and he's talking about she was on private property, the tree lawn, okay? He wrote her a orange tag for 72 hours. Then he come back and wrote her a 20-day notice. Now this is a 2008. I work on the car for her. I do her brakes. It's a 2008 G6. Now he said the neighbor called and said the vehicle was on his property. Now on the tree line, okay, right in front of her house. So that's what I asked him. I said, why'd you do that? Oh, it started out the neighbor call. It was on his property. I said, did you go talk to her or did you?
well, you're on the agenda for ordinance violation that you received.
Okay.
If Siobhan's got a problem, she needs to come down here and see us herself.
That's the beginning of it. But a lot of these people out here in this community won't speak up, and that's the problem. That ain't, Dennis, you was a marshal for a long time.
Yeah.
From what I remember, government class, I came in here, and I sat in here, and you guys were talking about our property. Okay? And Evelyn asked you, do you need my glasses? And you was like, no. I went down there and asked them, and they cleaned it up, and that's that. So, now what I'm saying is, this girl done been through so much this year. You write her a $100 ordinance violation and tell her she needs to get rid of her.
Well, again, though, that's for her.
Again.
You need to talk about what's happened to you and not somebody else.
What I'm talking about is this community. That's what I'm talking about. The people of this community that won't stick up for themselves. That's what I'm talking about.
Well,
And she's not the only one.
I can't.
Okay.
We can't do anything about that. There's policies in place and stuff. If you've got a problem, then you can write a
I know
thing
the
and stuff,
policies.
and then come in here and
I
talk to
know the
us, and we'll
policy.
talk about it.
I know the
But
policy.
we can sit here and dispute back and forth all day long. It's not going to make a difference.
I know the policy, but it's
You know?
but between it's right or wrong though. That's what I'm saying. How can you write an ordinance violation about somebody's car that's registered, running and driving, insured, and write her a $100 citation for it? That's not right. And then you want to write me a citation about a sidewalk ordinance? There wouldn't be a sidewalk if it wasn't for me. I cleared the sidewalk. I cleared the sidewalk across from my property. See, that's the problem. Everybody wants to point out the bad.
We've all did that.
Okay? Everybody wants to point out the bad. And you want to write ordinances. But don't nobody send me a letter. Hey, Steve, I appreciate you cleaning up them trees that the lawns that left there for 20 years. I appreciate you cleaning up the sidewalk down there. But you want to come write an ordinance violation for a sidewalk that was never even there? First off, 10 years ago, from what I remember, Chris Fine tried to use the sidewalk ordinance.
what's a-
And they were supposed to,
I'm confused on what you're talking about in sidewalk ordinance.
he wrote me a ticket, put a ticket on my car for a sidewalk ordinance.
For what?
Parking over the sidewalk.
Okay.
And the ordinance was supposed to be removed 10 years ago. Because of the houses are too close to the sidewalk. Check the minutes. Go back and check the minutes. Because it was a big ordeal, you guys were writing tickets about the sidewalk.
You were
The
council
town board
president
was
back then.
pushing it.
Does that
Check
ring a
the
bell with
minutes.
you?
Well, I don't remember, but I park across my sidewalk because I can't get up any closer.
The houses are too close to the
Right.
road. Half of them, the driveways, it's too close. How can you enforce that ordinance? It's not right.
We were discussing the parking ordinance today, Marshall Farthing, and it kind of steps on itself, does it not?
Well, I reread it, so there's two separate ones. There's a driving
Okay.
on the
Can I have
sidewalk
something to
one
say?
and a parking on the sidewalk.
Let's get it real quick.
There's a driving on the sidewalk one and a parking on the sidewalk one. The driving on the sidewalk one allows for you to drive across a sidewalk only on your permanent or temporary driveway.
Okay.
The parking one does not allow parking anywhere on the sidewalk.
So you can't park, you can't block the sidewalk
Can't block a sidewalk.
for walking traffic.
You can't block the sidewalk, but you can drive your car up to your front door on the tree lawn, almost in the house, and they don't get a ticket.
No.
We got so many people down in our neighborhood, they park it almost in their front door.
But that's their private property.
I don't care.
You got a curb down there, you got a curb down
You're
there, don't you?
blocking a town
I
sidewalk, you
understand
cannot
that,
block a
but
town
I'm saying
sidewalk.
if you're gonna be
If you
that
drive,
petty about the sidewalk, you should do
if your
something else
vehicle is
about
20
the
foot
other
long and you pull in your driveway and it hangs over the sidewalk,
You're blocking a sidewalk.
so how does that work?
I have a
Don't
problem,
park in that
I have a
driveway.
problem with that when I do my RV and stuff,
Right.
because it will
Exactly.
overhang. So I'm gonna have to park on an angle.
Because the
on my
next thing
drive
that
now
we're
to
gonna
do that.
have is we're gonna have some little kid trying to ride down their sidewalk on their bicycle and they run into
Them
your
kids
vehicle.
drive down the
Just
middle of
come
the
down the
road.
sidewalk in the
Them
middle
kids
of the
just drive
street.
down the middle of the road.
That's just the idea.
There wasn't sidewalks. Half of them were ramps. It's just an ordinance that I got a ticket for that ain't right. That was brung up 10 years ago. That was about the sidewalks. The houses were too close. And we just need to tighten up a little bit. That's all. We need to tighten up a little bit because we got ordinances that are 40 years old, 50 years old, or whatever they are.
Yeah.
Okay? That's all I'm saying. And tell him to talk to the people instead of just writing the ordinance. You see, he's a young cop.
Well, I can tell you, and quite honestly and stuff, because I would hold them at a higher standard than most in the public perception of the police department we have now is really very well. They're doing a very good job. When you go out and start writing ordinance citations and affecting people's lives and stuff, then all of a sudden you become the bad guy. I could be the most well-liked person and stuff when I was marshal, but I'd go out once a month and write 60 ordinance citations and stuff, and then I was the worst person that lived on the face of the
I
earth.
never felt that way.
You know. And well, we talked a lot.
And you wrote us
But-
citations. You wrote my parents a $500.
Well,
citation.
he does the same thing though. It's not about the citation and stuff. It's about getting it done. And once it's done, you go in there and talk to him and stuff, and he tears up the citations too. It's not about collecting money and stuff. It's never been about collecting money. It's just about getting things corrected.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do everything they ask me to. He wrote me a letter about some vehicles. Got rid of the vehicles, right?
You gotta work on the tractor and the backhoe, but yes.
The backhoe ain't going nowhere. Why do I have to get rid of my backhoe?
Is it moving?
It can move if I need to use it. Why do you use a backhoe every day? No.
Your backhoe's broken down currently.
I can drive that backhoe. See, you don't know nothing about what you're talking about. I can drive it. I took the cylinders in to get them rebuilt. Okay? So I'm not getting rid of my backhoe. I paid $3,800. No. Excuse me. $3,500 last year in property taxes. And somebody's gonna tell me I can't have a shopping cart next to my barn and a backhoe that I paid $5,000 for? Come on, man. Do I own my property? Is it mine? Now he's talking about my backhoe.
Public-
First it was the vehicles. Now it's the backhoe.
unfortunately, it is yours and stuff, and not unfortunately, but yes, it is yours and stuff, but then you got that big 2-letter word that kills everything and stuff when it comes to law, and that's public view. Anything within public view is open to statute. So, if you can see it and there's a problem, then you can do it
my
there.
backhoe.
So,
There ain't no problem with my backhoe.
okay.
That's the problem. And I knew this was gonna happen. As soon as he's a young cop. Let me get rid of a couple of the vehicles that's sitting there. Then guess what? He sends me a letter about a shopping cart next to my barn. Okay? I'm not gonna be harassed. Okay? The next step is I hire an attorney. All right? And then we just go to court and fight about it.
Okay. Well,
So
if-
I'm not going to be harassed.
If that happens, then that happens. We have our attorneys too,
I
and
know.
we'll take
I
care of
know.
it from there.
I know. But it's not right. For one, it's not right to tell me that I can't have a backhoe.
He hasn't told you couldn't have a backhoe.
He just said next is the backhoe.
Well, he just said it. He just said it has to be moved. So
Why
just
do I
move
have to take my time and move something every 20 days? When I might use it once or twice a year.
Because the law states it has to be done. It's not him. It's the law saying it's got to be done.
Man, y'all come up with new laws.
I do the same thing with my
Y'all come up with new
RV.
laws every time I look around, you got an ordinance. Okay, on to the next one. The golf cart ordinance.
Huh?
He writes me a $200 citation for my golf cart.
Was it registered?
Okay? No, I did not register. It was registered last year. Okay?
Okay, it's June.
So, didn't you guys just open back up to the public?
No, it's been open. It's been open for getting all that
from my
stuff from.
understanding, it wasn't open.
No, it's been open
Okay.
for doing everything.
So, $200 for not registering it? $200?
I didn't write the fines.
$200 for not registering? I mean, I got the ordinance right here.
The schedule of fines was written by past councils and stuff. When I was marshal, it was
I
$25
guarantee they
fine.
don't say $200 for not registering your golf cart. I guarantee it. I'm willing to bet money.
He's got schedule of fines right
$200 for a ordinance violation?
Yep,
For a golf cart?
that was the one Renee made up, wasn't it?
Come on,
I
man.
couldn't.
I read it the other day.
Come on, man.
there. There's Renee and Oberly that made up all these things here. Schedule of fines hasn't been done by us.
Schedule of fines is toward the end. Is right.
I think that's a little absurd, $200 in the middle of a pandemic. You talking about a guy that the town calls on every time they get their backhoe
It's not whether it's middle
or-
of pandemic. I would agree with you at this point. I think that's a hefty fine.
or a tree across the road, NIPSCO can't get in, but
We
you
were
call
doing-
me to bring my machine and move the tree. But you wanna write me a $200 ordinance violation. When half the town's out of power, they can go down there and get the critters and move the tree so the NIPSCO can come in.
They don't want to write you a
Man.
citation, but you have to.
That man spent
you
more
have
time writing me
to.
letters than anybody.
No, he's actually wrote like 70 letters to
Yeah.
people in town and stuff. I mean, I've seen the stack. It's
Well,
been huge. You're
It wasn't
far beyond
only
that.
him, it was our
I
prior
ain't getting rid of my
town
backhoe.
council
Right.
marshal too, so I mean, it's been
I
a,
ain't getting rid of my backhoe, so. Or my shopping cart. I'm just being real, man. It's, you can only bend so much. Next thing you be telling me, I gotta get rid of my flowers out my front yard or something. You write an ordinance for that?
I don't know if you want to see it, but it's there, it's on that bottom
I've seen
page.
it before, right? Somebody posted it the other day on
I
Facebook.
thought I must have left that ordinance in my truck.
You can have that one if you want it.
And when was that ordinance made?
2018-004 is what the
And
ordinance
it's
number is.
$200?
Says on,
Well, I
it's
think we should
underneath
rescind it and
the
make a new one.
Yeah.
be something that,
Because, $200, that's a steep amount.
I mean, if I was going 55 under 20, ring me up. Write me a ticket. Come on, man. And the killer part is, you know what I was doing? Just got my golf cart out the shop. Miss Jordan refrigerator went out. Elderly lady in the Heights. I was on my way to get the two-wheel dolly from Frank Evans to take the refrigerator out of her house. Wasn't charging her a dime. But then he pulls me over and writes me a $200 ordinance. And I gave him help, but I was already mad about how he did Siobhan over here about her little car. This little community, man, talk to people. Talk to them. It gets you a lot further. That's all I'm saying. I don't care about the money. I don't care about it. I work every day. But right is right. Write me a $200 ordinance for doing a good favor.
Well, he wrote a $200 ordinance because you weren't registered.
Yeah.
Mine's registered,
I bet it is, man.
insured and everything else. I paid my money.
Mine's insured too.
Is it registered?
Just didn't make it down there to register. Just got it out the shop. Write me a $200 ordinance. All that I do for the community. Then he act like he don't even know who I am. What's your name? Come on, man. You know what? You just sent me about 10 letters, dude. Don't play no games with me, man. Don't play no games with me. It's not right, man. It's not right. Y'all can sit behind the desk.
It sounds to me like he was doing his job, but
Doing
the
his
schedule
job.
of fines
Doing
is
his
a little
job.
hefty and stuff. And when it comes to some of these ordinances and stuff, I think the schedule of fines is
So what's the next step?
ridiculous on that.
What's the
So
next
what
step?
you're really asking us to do is to look over this stuff and try to reevaluate what our price,
Schedule
what
of
the
fines
schedule of
are.
fines should be. And we need to reevaluate maybe some of our ordinances in regards to today's vehicles being longer and a little bit that it does make an issue of
I mean, we need
some of these
to
houses.
reevaluate the sidewalk ordinance. The people are allowed to have more than one vehicle. That girl got a brand new SUV and a 2008. She works. She go to work, come home, take care of a handicapped kid. Why does she have to move that vehicle? Get out of one vehicle,
Look,
back
that-
this one up, leave the other one in the road, then pull this one. If she moved it back to her other parking spot, he wouldn't even notice it. He wouldn't notice it. She got two parking spots in front of her
But
house.
she moved it back, right?
Yeah, she moved it. I went and got the car and drove it. I said, hey, Siobhan, do you want to sell it? No, I can't sell it because if something happened to the new car, you're a smart girl. You're a smart girl. We got to talk to people, man. Dennis, you used to talk to people. You used to work with people. You probably used to cut grass when they couldn't cut their grass. You went over there and cut their grass. Yeah. So, Dennis, do what you do and instill that in this young man.
And I'll be honest with you, Steve, I have seen that out of both of our officers. I time and time again. Time and time again. I can't tell you, I couldn't be happier with the job that they're doing. They are doing outstanding. You'd be surprised the amount of sexual assault cases, the amount of drugs that they've taken out of this town already and stuff, the amount of traffic stops. I mean, he hasn't did his report yet, but there's 92 traffic stops in a month and stuff, you know, and they're writing 4 or 5 citations. So it's not about going out here and tearing the people's money out of their
Everybody you
pocket.
see, hell yeah, you gonna get 92.
No, these are people that are legitimately speeding and everything else. And then when they first started out, 1 out of 3 people were suspended because law enforcement hadn't been here for a long time.
Many years it hasn't been enforced, nothing has been done. You get the cars that are sitting there constantly speeding up and down these roads with kids in the roadway and everything.
I agree 100%.
So we have to give our props to them for doing their job, and people are getting pissed off and upset because they're doing their job.
Sure.
That's their problem. He has a job to do to enforce our laws. This is what we've paid them to do, this is what we've asked them to do, and that's what they're doing. So how can we be upset with him for doing the job? You say that he can be a little bit more personable. That's something that he can always work on. That's something that he can always do.
That's all I'm asking.
By any means, and I'm not saying that he's not going to do that, or the other Matt is not doing that as it is. It's just, they gotta have a little bit of time here. They've only been here 6 months, 7 months. It takes a lot longer than to get to know a whole community, man, and he's got a job to do on top of
You're
it.
not trying to learn them if you just writing ordinances and tickets and pulling over busting people's heads.
Yeah, but a lot of these ordinances, Steve, if he doesn't enforce these ordinances, and then we have to sit around and look at people that don't mow their grass or have this or have that or anything, you know? So somebody has to make a move somewhere.
And we'll have 20
I mean, it just
people
can't-
standing up there complaining because they're not enforcing the ordinance.
And we cannot, as a council member, we cannot our law enforcement.
All I'm saying is reevaluate the ordinances.
I think we need to reevaluate, and I think we're all in agreement of the schedule of fines and stuff. I think the $200 on a golf cart violation is a
And
little
we'll look into
ridiculous.
the sidewalk ordinance to find out, to see exactly what it is and
Why don't we?
We talk
compared to
about
what it is
sidewalks,
today.
You go on the back of Ivanhoe.
The houses
No,
are
I'm trying,
5 foot from the
I'm
sidewalk.
picturing.
You can't even find the sidewalk.
No, yeah.
Trees are overlapping.
Yeah, it's been like that for,
30 years.
30 plus.
There's a lot of places in town like that though. Few of them.
Yeah. Houses are 5 foot off the sidewalk.
And to bring up one thing about the sidewalks, some of these sidewalks are not on town property. They're on private property.
Yeah.
My property stake is located next to the telephone pole when I bought the house on Larchmere, which puts it inside my property line. That's why the tree lawn is much wider than across the street. And I don't have a curb either. But according to...
Across the street's got curbs on.
According to the papers that I got with the house, the property stake is about 3 feet off to the side of the telephone pole there.
Huh.
This was brought up quite a few years ago when it was gonna want the property owners to fix the sidewalk. Well, a lot of these trees that are on the tree lawn belong to the town, and the town.
Who's responsible for the sidewalk?
Huh?
Who's responsible for the sidewalks?
Probably
It's never been actually, in all of our time and stuff, we've never come up with an answer on that.
No.
I think LaPorte does a 50-50 split on their stuff, and we went through and repaired what we've damaged or when the fire hydrants and stuff like that, but that's something we need to look into in some bad sidewalk areas.
Because my sidewalk, where the gutter is,
When they pay,
full with trash right now.
when they pave that,
And
that'll all be taken care of. When they
Oh.
pave that, all that concrete work and everything else, and that will all, storm drain will all be
I hope
fixed.
so, because it's full of,
Yeah, and
Well, birds right
and
now.
Randy's picking up the street sweeper tomorrow, and they're doing all the storm drains and stuff like that, so.
That street
don't
repair
forget
goes way
mine, because
past
it's
her
all
house.
up in my
didn't it?
tree line
Then
and
it goes down
almost
to his
into my
house.
yard. Full of
When they
whirl.
put that new street on Hadley, that goes all the way to the end of Hadley, so it'd be way past her house.
We wanna do anything with Mr. Crittenden's fine?
I think that Mr. Critton ought to work with Mr. Farley on that one, to be honest with you.
I don't think so. That's the town council's problem to set rates. I don't
Well,
think-
we're not setting a rate, we're talking about a ticket. It's already been issued.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
a citation, that's an ordinance violation, that's not a
It's an ordinance violation
What
and
was she
stuff,
talking
so
about?
it's, that's what I'm talking about, the ordinance violation.
And again, I'm not saying anything, if I was speeding going 100 miles per hour, and ring me up. If I,
Well, that'd be a state citation anyway, so you'd be talking to the courts.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, I'm not lost. He needs to do his job. I'm not saying he's a bad cop. I'm just saying he's young, and this small community and these people.
Amber, are we able to lower the fine to whatever we feel, or we get rid of
You
it,
can change your
or?
ordinance at any point in time, and you guys would have the authority of how you're gonna pursue it any further. So if you would want to maybe just hold off on it until you looked at what it would be, and go retroactively, because you can make an ordinance retro if you need to.
Let's do that. You good with that? You guys good with that? In the next meeting, we'll get the schedule of fines out and stuff, and we'll do that, and
Make
whatever the
sure
new
things
fines
go
is
back
will
to
be your
May
fine.
1st retroactively. or-
May 1st.
But I think $200 is ridiculous. When I was marshal and stuff, we were doing $25, and it was a progressive 25, 50, 75, 100, and
How many do you
You know.
tear up?
how many,
Well-
I used to tear up hundreds, so, I mean,
I actually think it should be 50, because is it 50 to register a golf cart?
35.
It's only 35? Okay, 30. Whatever it is to register, he neglected to register, so that's what the fine should be then.
when I get it back from Weirs, I spent $900 at Weirs, and it still ain't right. So when I get it back from Weirs, I'll get it registered. But
Yeah. Okay. Well,
it's not like I was trying to hide from registering my golf cart.
Those guys that's bringing their cabs in, you know, the trail, you know, the guys,
Semis?
Semis.
The ordinance of parking of anything over 2 tons on the tree lawn. That was done back in your day, and that was done because at that time we probably had 30 semis in town and stuff, and every tree lawn was mucked up and big rivets, and they would park in the muck holes, and then they would drive down the road and there'd be mud and muck all over the roads and everything and stuff. So that's when that ordinance got put in. That's when that got done.
I thought that was put in after they were parked over on Mellbrook.
No, that was before that. It was actually before that, because when we made them go down to the truck parking lot, that eliminated them from being on the tree lawns. So, I personally think that ordinance we could look at and maybe leave it into the guidelines of where if the marshal felt that the tree lawn was being destroyed, you know, becoming a big muck hole or anything else, and doing stuff like that, then they could stop them from parking on the tree lawn. But my tree lawn in front of my house, over the years, I've had limestone that I put down in there and stuff, and it's packed down, and the grass has grown through it. And I used to park my RV over that. And when he was writing the tickets on the semis, I just happened to go home that night and stuff, and I went, "Oh crap, my RV's parked on the tree lawn, and my RV's like 13 tons." You know, so I started the RV up and I parked it in my yard, you know, because I was in violation. But I think that one there needs to be looked at.
I think so too.
You know, if you get a truck driver that's going to park in a tree lawn in front of his house and make a big muck hole and just make it look like crap and stuff, they don't care about the community anyway. There needs to be some kind of an ordinance there that we can go, no, you're destroying the tree lawn.
They're probably not a homeowner anymore.
Right. But yeah, we got some ordinances we need to look at. Maybe we just do a special workshop and hit something like that.
So.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Appreciate it.
I ran my blood pressure all the way up.
Yeah. They make pills for that. I'm on them. Tracker factor. Kingsford Heights Municipal Electric Utility tracker factor of 0.009616. Need a motion to accept the new tracker factor.
I'll make a motion that we accept the new tracker factor.
Second.
Been moved to second, we accept tracker factor 0.009616. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The Surf CSI net, we've had some major problems with the Surf net, which is controlling. They give us the free internet here in the community center, and then or not internet, but the internet, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not strong enough or good enough. You can't get anything with it. Surf Air, and the
Usually we can't get anything.
But the town hall has had several problems and stuff with the internet, and once it goes down, they can't do their job. They called them the other day and stuff, and they told them, oh, we'll be in there, and call them. Well, I get in there that afternoon and stuff, and they're dead in the water with no internet. So I called them up and I said, listen, we're a business, we can't be down. And they said, well, we got you for next few days. I said, no. I said, listen, you got your stuff sitting on our water tower. If you can't come here and fix our internet, then you need to come get your stuff off of our water tower, because we don't need you. And it wasn't about 15 minutes later, they pulled into the driveway and stuff and had it fixed. So I honestly believe with the amount of problems, and Dwayne tell you there's been massive problems with the internet there and stuff, I actually think that we need to go to Comcast. And we've talked to the guys. The guy said they could run the wire and stuff to the shops and everything and stuff. But at least at that point, you would have broadband and a high-speed internet that would be powerful enough to be able to do things when you wanted to do things, you know? And he's getting quotes right now on to see what that's going to cost. And at that point, if we decided to do that and get rid of Surfair, then we would have to decide.
You won't get my vote on Comcast because I have trouble with that all.
Okay, but then we would have to do a contract with Surfair for using our tower. You know, Jason said something about they get like $1,200 a month and stuff over where he's at and stuff for using their tower. You know, so in turn we would have to make a contract saying, okay, you're going to pay us this much a month and stuff to use our water tower, or take it off. So, something to think about. When he gets the numbers and stuff, we'll bring it at the next meeting and go from there.
Okay.
Community center air conditioner and the heating unit. You can tell, right, the air conditioner and everything's working real good. Give you a little story and stuff. We had the air conditioner wasn't working very good and stuff here a few weeks ago. I got in there and played with it a little bit and stuff. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what it did or what happened, but it started working again. So I called Dyes out to come take a look at the furnace because one of the furnaces back here doesn't work at all. There's two furnaces back here, two Lennox furnaces. These furnaces were put into this building in 1996 when it was built. So one of the owners of Dyes came out with a guy, and they spent about 2.5 hours in here and stuff. And lo and behold, sometime in 2010, I left in 2009, sometime in 2010, some repairman had came out. The furnace on the left-hand side is totally torched out. The air conditioning unit on the outside is totally burned up. They put in a new A-coil and a new air conditioning unit outside in 2010 that's written on the side when they did that. And they went through and inspected that, and then the heat exchangers are held together with rings. And the rings on the heat exchangers on the one that's working are all popped. So before winter comes, before we have to start heating, the next thing's going to happen and stuff, when those things are popped, we're going to start putting carbon monoxide in here. So we have to replace the furnace and air conditioning units. I talked to Dyes. Remember when we were talking about putting a generator in here and stuff, and then it come back to like $25,000 because it was three-phase electric. Both of the air conditioning units were hooked up to three-phase electric for some reason. He went through and looked at this, and he says, how much are your air conditioning? I said, just this room here and the bathrooms and the kitchen. And he says, this is overkill. Nobody should ever put 2 units in here. This is 1 4-ton unit would take care of this place with no problem whatsoever on a 220 circuit. So Dyes has given us a price for $11,880 to replace get rid of those units and stuff that we've got, go to a 220 and get rid of the 3-phase, and put us in a new furnace and new central air unit. There was a $380 charge when they were out here the other day. He said he'd eat that if we bought the units from him. So this is something we're going to have to do before winter and stuff. So, you know, I think we ought to let Dyes in there. And go ahead, Steve.
I just had a brand new 3.5-ton unit, 100,000 BTU, high efficiency, brand new for under $6,000. Installed.
Central air, everything?
Central air, furnace, everything.
Yeah.
They're probably doubling up on the equipment.
Well, they got to rip all that stuff out of there and then redo all the electric and redo the phlegm and all that stuff.
That's a lot.
Who did you?
I thought it was a pretty good price, personally.
Paul Fugate.
Who?
Paul Fugate. I think, I forget his business name, but I'll get you the number. And it's 10-year warranty on the equipment.
How big was that air compressor that they're talking there?
6 ton.
6 ton?
I'd like to see another quote on it. I mean, that's a lot of money, but I would like to compare it, not just look at one and
Our air conditioners are doing all right now though, right?
Yeah.
So we got time to work on this.
Oh, yeah. Just call a couple other people and stuff, see what they get.
Not so costly and just that air conditioning unit.
Okay.
Summer, and they're a summer air conditioning, heating and air conditioning out of LaPorte.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Marshall's Department.
You guys have my calendar for next month on there, along with the calls for service numbers. Calls for service numbers were pretty close to last month as well. There were 56 calls for service, 21 case reports. Drawn in 1 month, 9 arrests total. Breaking that down into 5 misdemeanor and 4 warrant arrests. It's been a busy month between case reports, and we redid the office. I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have seen that. Office has been completely gutted, repainted, mostly put together. It still needs some cleaning, but it's getting there. It's almost done. So between that and the office and the vehicle work that we're still working on, it's been a busy month. My vehicle had to have a light bar replaced. From when I first started, the light bar was a factory defect, so that's been replaced. We're shipping the old one back at their cost. I've done ordinance letters. Last month, I think I sent out 65 letters. That's the second batch. I think the first batch I sent out 50-some letters. This is everything from junk trash in yards to abandoned junk vehicles. Tried to cover a little bit of everything in the ordinance letters this time. Grass was a big one. And for the grass, we have 95% compliance right now. There's probably 1 or 2 that I need to go back and give them the last warning before town guys have to go mow it. But it's pretty good compliance right now in town. I keep finding ones that I missed when I did my rounds. You just keep hitting more and more. So if people see them, I may have not just seen it. So get with me and we'll go from there on it. We've had a lot of kids interacting with us and the police cars here recently. I think I've gone through a half roll of stickers at the apartments alone here in the last week and a half. So it's really nice to see, and the kids that are coming up that like the police and that interact with us is amazing. We still have quite a few PR things that were left from the previous marshals, but it's going to be something we're going to probably be looking at too here pretty soon to get some more public relation items for the kids and families in town. A lot of training coming up for me and Deputy Wolf. We've already had training in the last several weeks. We've got some more training next week and another class at the end of the month, both those 2 separate classes at the end of the month. But we're getting training that's well needed within the community, so we don't have to have the sheriff's department come and do our cases for us. Another thing we're working on, this is just heads up because I'm working with Dwayne on this one. These body cameras we have are not working properly. I've had 2 instances now where it magically came on halfway through the traffic stop when we activated it at the beginning. And you can clearly see we're in the middle of sentences, no hand in front of the cameras turning them on. So I'm working with Dwayne currently. I have quotes. We're trying to find some additional funding to help us out so we don't have to spend some money, whether that be through grants or through the prosecutor's office or.
How much is it?
So I got 2 quotes. One's 3,000, just at 3,000, and the other one's just over 4,000. The other company never got back with me, so I tried for 3. And these are for 3 cameras, chargers, batteries, software. And these also would put modules in our cars where if I activated my lights, my body camera would automatically turn on.
I'm pretty sure I saw some new legislation where the state was going to be.
It's coming.
Okay.
It's coming.
good, Right.
That's the other thing is pretty soon the state's going to make it mandatory that every officer
Well,
has a
not
body
only
camera.
that, but I thought I saw some, where they're giving like $10 million to this, to fund grants to, throughout the state. So just keep an eye out.
Yep.
I don't have a link or anything to it to apply for it.
Yeah, and I want to look at grants. I've started, these just came in like last week. I just got these. I talked to Dwayne about it. We're gonna try our connections at the prosecutor's office, see if we can get a little bit of money through them, since it mainly helps them in their cases. Otherwise, we're gonna try for grants, but for 3 cameras, it may sound like a bunch of money, $3,000, but for the features that they're providing, and the one quote that's right at 3,000 is actually the same company that we just bought our tasers from.
You got that in your budget? You got that amount in your budget?
That's what we're working on right now.
Not this
right
year.
now.
Nope.
No.
No?
Not this year.
We'd have to take it out of the
They're trying to find some
improvement
free
fund or
money.
something.
So, I mean, we have body cameras. The issue we're gonna run into
We can
when they
use
work,
that-
when they
we
don't
can use
work,
that out of the
when
community
the battery's
fund.
down.
Yeah, but
We can just say.
That's
an issue.
I'd just soon let him try to pursue the grant first if there's $10 million
One
out
occasion I
there.
can think of, I reviewed a body camera of Deputy Wolf's because he thought there was gonna be some issues with the stop, and he was up in the car and it literally stopped in the middle, started in the middle of his sentence and his hands weren't even
It's
close.
something that you desperately need
Is
these
that-
days.
Amber, is that something that we can like retroact, where if we were to spend the money now, that we would be able to get it back, or is that
I
not
can't
something we?
say.
You can't.
It's so hard to, every
Yeah.
grant you apply for is so different. You know, some will
Just
be
wanna go to the
reimbursable,
community
some
improvement
won't,
fund?
but
Huh?
Just
I
wanna do the
agree with you,
community
there's a need
I
for
think it needs
it.
to be
Like,
done.
I'm
This
really
is
uncomfortable
now.
hearing that the
Make a
cameras are
motion.
going off and on.
Can I see those quotes? Yeah, because
I didn't make copies because
this
I didn't
is,
think we were gonna go
to
very
me,
far.
this is something that needs to get done now instead of later. There's
So
no,
the yellow form would be a body camera, probably a little bit bigger than this one. The one on the left that's a little bit more is 2 pieces, the battery that goes in our pocket, and the camera's like this big.
Oh,
That would sit
smaller.
there on our. The only thing I like about the one that's more expensive is the batteries can be easily changed out in the middle of shift. So if I'm in the middle of something, battery dies on me, they send us 2 batteries, you can click it in and
Gotcha.
you got your camera again. Other than that, features are almost identical. They'll do playback, so if I'm just out here talking and something happens, I can hit the button and it'll go back up to 2 minutes and record.
these are the
Wow.
ones that automatically feed into
And
your,
both of
into all
those
that
have the
stuff.
modules I can
We have none of that
install in the
stuff.
cars that will automatically turn on with the lights.
So the ones they
It's
talk
just
about
your word.
$4,000, that's the one that's got the battery packs with it?
Yeah, two different batteries, and it's a wire that comes out of your pocket and just connects the little camera to the
But that's for
camera.
3 of them then, correct?
It's for 3, yes, because we're gonna do it. Myself, Deputy Wolf would have ours issued, and then the one that the part-timers would grab. But the nice thing with, I think, both of them is not only does it activate with my lights, if I pull up to Deputy Wolf on a traffic stop and I don't turn on my lights, I'm close enough to his car, it kicks my camera on.
And that's which one? That's the more expensive one?
They're both of them. Both of them have about the same features, about the only thing different with Digital Alley is the software is actually their software, it saves in their software, and the batteries. Axon, they give you software more or less to pull the camera, the footage off, and then we have to store it ourselves in files and organize month, day,
Is
year.
that a yearly, is that a yearly fee or something, or
It's one
just
time-
you
one
buy a
time
one-time
purchase.
thing?
Because Axon tried to give me a quote for
Sounds like that's the way to go.
13,000, and then it
It's
would
a
be
little bit
saved
more
online.
expensive, but I think it's.
Get what
that's
you
the
pay
way to
for.
go.
Yeah.
You get
The nice
what
thing with Digital Alley is I've used them before, and if in the future we ever decide to go to it, we have extra money in the budget, they have really nice in-car cameras as well. That
You said
would
this one?
also, yeah,
Oh.
that would also sync in with our body cameras. Those are, I've already asked them, and that's not gonna be something I look at.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we purchase them. Is what fund can we take this out of? Because this is something that needs to get done now instead of later.
He
This
was talking
is,
to community.
We can take it out of the community improvement
Yeah,
fund.
all place to come from.
then I would make a motion that we,
You better go for this one.
I would make a motion that we go through Digital Alley for $4,195 to purchase 3 body cameras.
Your second?
I'll second it.
Let me get caught up here. And move the.
That's easy. I'm sorry.
And a motion made
Just back-
purchase 3 cameras from Digital
If
Alley,
someone wants them, I can make copies.
the amount of $4,195.
$4,195.
All in
Yes.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Buy your cameras.
Can you throw copies in our box?
Yeah, I'll make copies of this for you and get them in your box.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. That's gonna help us out
But some,
If we can-
these days, you need
That's
that
a perspective,
desperately.
If we can find the grant though, the money
Yeah,
that
it's all
would
passed,
retroact
yeah.
so that it would kind of cover us, that would
Just
be
a
appreciated. So, I mean, if you could still
And we're
look into
still,
that
we're at least
to,
going through the prosecutor's office. We were hoping to maybe get some money from the prosecutor's
and
office.
yeah, I mean,
too, so.
anything to kind of offset some of the cost here, but that's something that is much needed. It's not something that we can,
We just, and as soon as I started, I had to buy batteries for these, but these, I have to shut off every time I turn them on. They only last 15 minutes, 20 minutes at the most.
Well, it gets rid of complaints real quick when you got something on camera.
And the new ones, the batteries say they're supposed to last a 12-hour shift
Nice.
before we switch them out. The nice thing with digital out is we have that spare, so.
Okay.
Very nice.
Other than that, I don't think I have anything else. Just been a busy month and a busy start to this month already.
Keep up the good work,
All
man.
right, good job, Marshall.
Yeah, he's had some sexual assault cases and stuff, and I can tell you from past experience, those things take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and you know, it can easily pull 2-3 weeks of patrol time out and stuff, just playing detective and stuff like that. So,
I've been out of the
Keep
office
that in
for the
mind.
case for quite a bit, so.
all right,
All right, thank you.
thank you, Randy.
These were discussing water earlier, may as well start there. IDEM inspector showed up at the water plant to do a sanitary inspection. Jason spent quite a few time with her. There was some violations. Some of the violations will be addressed with their bond and grant issue. Jason is currently working on correcting the other issues. That's pretty much it for the water department.
What issues were there?
The chlorine room, the ventilation, the light switch, when it kicks on, it should turn on the ventilation. There should be a crash bar on the door. The door is not up to par at all. That's just some of the issues.
That was part of the stuff that were our grant, we was going for the grant
Yes,
that was gonna get
yes,
fixed too.
Part of the, part of the bond process, that is. Some of the issues were screen over piping. Jason's already corrected them issues. For the street department, we did get some coal patch, and we've been coal patching. For the electric department, we replaced a utility pole that was unsafe and highly rotted out. Over on Exeter Street, there was a tree in the tree lawn that was unsafe. It was cracking and popping, and the crew took it down and hauled out most of it. Property owners nearby wanted the wood, so we stacked the wood up there for them. At the wastewater plant, spoke with JD today. He'll be starting real soon to demo the two projects, the RBC filters and the trickling filter, and also replacing the two 16-inch valves. During the wastewater upgrade, the north clarifier did get completed. I did have it online. Unfortunately, I had to take it offline. We got to do some modifications to the plant to be able to run both clarifiers at the same time. And I'm waiting on Paul to get back on, that issue there. South clarifier, I ordered a rebuild kit to rebuild the skimmer and arms. Hopefully that'll be done in the next 2 weeks. We did receive the parts. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
how much detail is it gonna take for both clarifiers to run? Is it like something minor, major?
It's
Is it-
major.
Is it?
It's major. Yeah.
That's the one where they're talking about the piping to the two and then coming back around.
Right now,
Oh, yeah.
JD is going to look at that and give a bid on that. I talked with them today, and since they're gonna be here for a while, working on all the other stuff, maybe, the last bid we got from the other people were like 175,000. I think JD and them said they could do it a whole lot cheaper, so.
we tried for a few weeks, trying to dial in both clarifiers, and you had the intake side where you had to play with the valves every day till you're loading up one clarifier, then not loading up the other one. So you think you have that set, and then you end up on the discharge sides where you're only pulling water out of one clarifier and sludge out of the other when you need to be pull sludge out of both of them. So what it's gonna entail is basically a splitter box on the inlet.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. We did, I remember, that's why I was asking if that's what we were talking about or
And
not.
then
Okay.
a lift station on the outlet.
Yeah, we've actually got funding to get all that done and stuff
Yes.
right now, so
Yeah.
we can just about knock out everything for the sewage plant this year,
Yes.
if them down here.
And then move on to a distribution system. And that's pretty much it.
Besides getting rid of the digester and going to the bag system.
Yeah.
And we're waiting for IDEM to give the okay on that.
Yeah, waiting for IDEM to let us know if we can, it's basically Paul has to show proof that we can store our bugs for 140 days.
Good deal. You guys are doing a good job. You did a hell of a job clearing out that, if you get a chance, have Randy take you out there. That 34 acres we had out there where we're doing a new burn pile and all the stuff. They did a fantastic job back here. I mean, those I didn't know backhoes would do stuff like they did back there, but they did a great job back here. Worked pretty hard.
We have 8 more trees, and then we have a little section on the one side of the concrete, and we'll be pretty much done. I was hoping to be done this week, but I think we're rained out.
We're gonna use some of the tailings from the paving this year to help do a little road base and stuff back in there and stuff, so. And that shouldn't be too far off, because I see they're marking roads.
Yes. We did speak with JD today about hauling the concrete out, if we can get a discount on his quote, and he's gonna pencil the numbers and get back to us. You know, hauling the concrete out there instead of hauling it all the way south of Mount.
Sure.
It'll save us a little money.
Sure.
If he comes on the right numbers, we'll keep him busy all summer.
But that's it.
All right, thank you. Building inspector had some family people coming in. He said the firehouse on Dartmoor Wilson House, he's given the occupancy order, and that's all done. So glad they're back in their house after all this time. Fire department.
All right. For the month of May to yesterday evening, we were at 37 calls for service. We had 27 EMS, 2 fire alarms, 2 illegal burns out in the township, 2 car accidents, 2 false calls, 1 carbon monoxide call, and 1 gas leak. For those, that's it. Town did receive their ISO letter. The township, as far as I know, and us have not received anything yet. I'm hoping those will be coming shortly. Other than that, we haven't heard anything from them, which I've always been told no news is good news from them. The EMR classes, we just had one of our firefighters pass that, so we added another EMR to our roster to help with the medical calls. So he's not sitting on the pad by himself just waiting for an ambulance to go by. He can actually go straight to the scene now. Starting July 12th, I have another one starting the Fire 1 and 2 Academy from July 12th all the way to the end of December, so he's gonna be quite busy with that. Also, I've been in coordinates with EMA. Our storm siren here in town is not in operating order. For some reason, it's down, and it's down on their end. We checked the station our end and stuff, everything's fine there, so I'm not sure what's going on with them. I was talking with Wachowski again this morning. We're gonna try to send a tech out tomorrow to look at it. And then last on the list is I know I've talked with Marshall Farthing on it, and if we can get the 2 parking signs put back up in front of the stations that were removed. The one that's on our side by the telephone pole, and the one that also goes across the street on the telephone pole.
No parking between signs?
Yep, one of those is missing, but they're on it.
When we put them back up, Marshall, if you could get a camera on them, because the neighbors across the street are the ones taking them down, and we'll nip that in the bud real quick and stuff with the camera and end that problem.
What cost per service you have total this year? I know you're way up.
For this year?
Yeah, how many?
Oh, I'd have to go back and get that. We're pushing almost 200. We've been quite and the way it's looking, it doesn't look like it's going to get any busy or slower, because the way they're looking at the drought wise, we're going to be busy with grass fires left and right here shortly.
I bet.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this week it dumps a bunch of rain so it stays quiet.
Uh-huh.
Other than that, that's all we've got.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Good job. Need a motion to pay the claims for $343,693.27. Take in mind that a little over $240,000 of that is the payments for the sewage grant closure.
It's complete.
I'll make a motion that we pay the claims of $343,693.27.
Second.
Moved and second, we pay the claims of $343,693.27. All in favor?
Yay.
Opposed? Pay the claims. LED sign. Told you I'd have it for you for this meeting.
It's not on our list, is it? Or is it?
The LED sign and stuff ended up being, it's an 8-letter or 8-line sign, full color. It's 40 inches by 90 inches. It fits in between those two windows at the town hall, exactly window to window.
That's awesome.
It has like a 70-foot Ethernet cord, so that would go right into the clerk's office to plug in. $5,818. It's a 10-year life expectancy, 2-year warranty. Takes 3 to 4 weeks to get.
Where would them funds come from, do we know?
That would be Community Improvement Fund. That's where I was thinking.
But again, I remember, I know we need to sign, but this is one that I think we can hold off on and reevaluate this at the beginning of the year. I don't think it's some funds that we need to purchase right now. We got a lot of stuff going on that I'd like to see first.
Anybody else?
No, I think the community really enjoyed the sign when we had it out front. And with it being bigger, I think we'll be able to keep more people informed because not everybody is on Facebook. So I think upcoming events or anything like that would be great because they can actually see it on the sign.
Plus they get a little bit more time to look at it as they're
Paying their bill. There you go.
instead of stopping at a stop sign.
Well, I'll have to agree with Brian. I think we have more pressing things than a programmable sign.
I'm not saying abandon it, I'm just saying maybe postpone it for a little while and reevaluate it at the beginning of the year, maybe when we have recouped a little bit of funds and stuff. I just think that's the better way to go as of right now. I mean, we haven't had a sign, the sign's been basically inoperable for the last 3 years anyways. It's not like it was doing anybody any favors out there right now, but I just think maybe hold off a little longer and see.
Me, myself, I'd like to see the sign come. If you're asking for opinions,
Me too. I miss it. I like it. I think it's informational, and I think.
We're not saying it's not informational.
No, I agree.
Just-
I understand what you're
talking
saying, but
dollars and cents here.
well, it is part of the community.
yeah, we have the money.
Doesn't have apartments. It won't come out of money. It'll come out of our own general fund.
No. It would come out of the, if we do it, it would come out of the Community Improvement Fund.
How much money? is
We
in
already
the
discussed
community
that.
improvement?
Okay, good.
And I think there's like 140,000 or something.
There's, after the COVID money is all replaced, it's like 167.
167.
We just took $4,100 for the cameras and stuff, so figured 162,000.
Well, yeah. That was a must. This one I think is just more of a want than everything. I think we can put wants off to the side for right now, at least until we, I mean, I know that we're bouncing back and I know that we're there, but you know, we've talked about help freezing funds and doing this, but we're spending money left and right on certain items and stuff. I think this is one that can at least just hold off. I mean, we're half of the year. 6 months holding off on it, I don't think that's
Well, I don't know. I say we go, I say we go for it. I make a motion that we buy that sign.
I want to second it.
Been moved in second that we purchased the LED sign in the amount of $5,818 out of the community improvement fund.
You say it takes about a month to get?
3-4 weeks.
And is that something we have to hook up ourselves to?
Yes.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
You guys put me in these situations all the time, don't you? I think we can use a sign personally.
It's summertime and.
We've had community in here asking for the sign, so.
Yeah.
I say open it up to the churches and everybody else
Yeah.
and stuff, and this one here holds 52,000 letters in its memory. I mean, it's a lot nicer than what we had.
Yeah.
So, I'll vote yay for the sign. Dollar General. Back in our front door. Dollar General, Director of Retail Development person contacted me. The property has been purchased and signed off by the Lawns and the Evans. They have the property. It's at the corporate office now, and the next step will be going to the Planning Commission. The property has been, the lawn thing and stuff, they got, somehow or other got around that, and
Somebody did some fancy talking.
everybody signed all the paperwork, all the Evans family signed all the paperwork, it went to the corporate offices said they want all of our zoning stuff and everything right now, and it's coming. It's a done deal. To the first original thing that we said right out front there. And Ben knew about it before the town did. Because Reggie Evans went in and told him and stuff the day after he signed the paperwork.
That's crazy.
So,
Is that with the stipulation still of the underground?
yes, to the storm
retention
sewer.
pond and all that?
No retention ponds,
Right,
goes right to the
that's what I
storm
mean, 'cause it's
sewer.
under,
Yeah,
underground,
It's from the original.
from the original?
our original thing.
Okay.
Yeah, they know that we're not gonna accept the retention pond and stuff, it's gotta go. As a matter of fact, they questioned me about that, today on the, where that was at. I said, you're gonna have to go under and get into the parking lot. So, they're gonna repave all that anyway, I guess. The fireworks that were here for the last meeting, they were asked to get everything to us before this meeting. I have made contact with them and they have not made contact back. So if they do not give us the information needed to do these insurance stuff and everything, the ball diamond will not be available to the Legion for fireworks.
What was that date on that? Was that the 4th of July or?
July
July 31st.
31st.
And the fire department hasn't seen any paperwork on it yet either.
So,
Well, they have a little time to get with this, but they definitely need to get with this, though, don't they?
well, yeah, because we gotta get things signed and sent out, and they made it sound like they can't do anything until a week or two, or a week or so prior and stuff, and that's not true. They can get all the information and do everything up to that point, so it's just, we don't wanna fly by night to come down the ball diamond and start the woods on fire and
Not be held responsible.
and us be held responsible.
Yeah.
We've had some, when we took down the one tree over there and stuff, it was a good thing, cause that thing was getting ready to, it was a bad tree. Should've been took down a long time ago. Then the community started going, what about my tree, what about my tree? So then Randy went over and looked at Linda Staley's tree and stuff, and sure enough, in the wind, it was splitting apart and stuff going towards her house, so the guys went down there right away and took that down. There's another tree that is a problem tree They had a tree bid that they wanted $4,400 to take it down, and the other place wants $2,250. So we're still waiting for a couple more bids on that.
Had a problem. I got an overhang, comes over to my property, and every time a tall truck comes through, it knocks all the leaves and stuff over in my yard. It just needs to be cut out of the, not the tree down, but just take some of the branches off.
It's into your property? Well, you can do that.
No.
Anything that overhangs your property, you can cut.
You know what I hope I do.
It's coming across the street from across the road.
A lot
They just need
of,
to
I
be
know what
cut
she's
back.
talking about because,
Just the
like,
branches.
you go down Hadley or
Really?
Ivanhoe, those branches are starting to come down so low.
Oh,
that
right, and every
a
time
tall
you get a
truck-
tall truck,
Actually, you have
knocks it all over.
a few roads in town and stuff because I can't drive my RV through town
Yes.
without some tree trying to take out my air
There is.
conditioning units.
Grandway's the same way too.
Yeah.
I noticed that the other day, there's a bunch of trees that it looks like it just needs to be opened up a little bit.
yeah, just branches cut off, actually.
Take those
The
out, because I
overhang.
mean, I know that's been a problem in the
You
past.
mean trim them up or?
With the fire
Yeah.
truck, yeah, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
just trim them up.
Trim up.
because
Yeah.
I do know it's been a problem with the fire truck. We busted a light on one of them, so.
Yeah.
A long
Really?
time ago.
Yeah, if it comes down Hadley, it's definitely gonna hit the fire
And I was gonna
truck.
say the engine,
That's the reason why the back ones are replaced.
yeah.
Yeah, Randy will look into that.
So you start driving down the roads and
You
the
don't
biggest
have
truck
enough.
you got.
You don't have enough to do.
It'll fall off in the fall.
Attorney have everything?
You got the firework thing that I was worried about, so once you get some information, let me know and I'll finish that agreement. The resolution I read out loud, I just emailed to you and Dwayne so you can hit print and sign that. That needs to go out with all the others to your bond counsel and to Mike Clippinger, if I'm saying that correctly, the grant administrator. I think that's it.
Dwayne, you had overpayments on here. What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walked over. I gave you a paper. These are all bills that we, for the last 2 years. And I want them to, I've hunted for them and hunted for them to, these are that people
Moved out.
have moved out for years and years. And we owe them.
We owe them, okay.
We owe them, but I can't find anything. The officer and I've looked and hooked and up to Joe, and he's found some of them.
How long do we have to hold them?
After 2
What does
years.
State Board of Accounts recommend?
2 years.
How many years have you got old on there?
Did they give you like formal guidance, then it just becomes our property? I mean,
Well, this one the utilities, and it's the on the bills, and these bills have been here for years after years after years, and some live in the town, and I've cleared a lot of them. There used to be 30 of them, over 30. I'm down to these 15. I'm done. Well, now we're more than this. Now we're down to 10 of them. But once we
Right.
get done, I want to return them back to the utilities, and they'll still in history will be in there. But and if they ever show up.
Well, that
I
one
have to
was
pay it
for
back.
300 and something bucks, wasn't it? They never come back after the deposit
Yeah.
or something.
So if it's 2 years old, then it just automatically reverts back to
State
the
Board of
utilities?
Accounts should have something to give you like a really detailed guidance on that.
We have to back it up everything that we're doing with this, yes.
Did they give you like a bulletin, or sometimes they'll have bulletins that they,
I can't answer that one.
do you want me to reach out to State Board of Accounts and ask?
If you would,
Yeah,
please.
okay.
Because I'm trying to clean up
Yeah,
the
yeah.
system, so.
And these are overpayments that existed for like the last 2 years.
No,
And then this one says
over 4 years.
Wouldn't that go to Indiana's unclaimed? They have utilities and everything.
No.
That money's been over people.
How can you not get over the Gambino? It's 40%.
That's what I'm saying, State Board of Accounts has no specific guidance on how you handle that.
Okay.
I'm just trying to, what to do with it.
That's your whole business.
Yeah, go ahead.
You wanna go to old business?
Sure, go ahead.
The, last year, I remember us talking about putting the camera system and all that other stuff in here to mainstream and kind of do what we were doing. Are we still looking into that? Because that's definitely still something that would be beneficial as well. I know we had put some funds aside, I just can't remember exactly how much it
Well,
was.
that's part of that coronavirus thing.
But we haven't actually done it, and I don't know where we were at, but if we're also looking at switching internet companies, that's gonna help with that.
That was the
We have
problem.
this TV that obviously, we can also use
As a
two-stream
smart-
and everything else, but I think that's still something we need to continue to move forward with, getting the equipment in here to do these meetings.
I think there was a little bit of a confusion at the time that, because Mitchell made a list of
Right.
stuff. And Dwayne thought Mitchell was gonna buy it outright. And Mitchell says, I don't have the funds to just buy it
That was
outright.
$7,000 allocated for that,
I was
wasn't it?
gonna say it was.
One of the problems that we had here was the internet service that we had, but wasn't strong enough to support it.
But
If we
there's-
get, if we get Comcast in here, it will be plenty strong enough, and we can go for that.
And I get that, but I mean, Mitchell, and you probably could answer better than this, isn't there something that you can do just to boost what we have right now, even if we don't get the Comcast
So
thing?
they abandoned the rest of it.
We're going to, I mean, we're talking about going to Comcast, but if we don't, isn't there some sort of booster we can put on the outside of the building to kind of boost the power inside the building?
We could, the only thing I can think of is, since we could request better upload speed from Surf, but I don't know if they'll do it.
I can tell you that we've had problems with the internet in the past, and we've had Surf Air come out, and they've tried to put those boosters on over here in the back corner and stuff, and it's just the metal in the building and stuff. So we need to have some kind of a direct wire that comes in from the outside.
Broadband would be the better way to go.
Yeah.
Right.
That would
Definitely.
actually kind of solidify and make it so that we can get,
Then we just get doing the camera thing.
get everything out there and do that. Okay, that's what, I just wanted to touch on that under old business, because I knew it was something, but I think we definitely need to move forward
I agree.
with that, because that is, you got a lot of people that are out there that liked what was going on with Zoom and all that
Oh, yeah.
other stuff
Sure.
with
Oh,
our,
yeah.
and a lot more people that would participate if we had that, and if
I
we have
still
a
think
better way to do it, then.
there's a lot of people that are still afraid to get out. So, yeah, they could be watching it,
Just want to touch on.
Yeah, I agree.
as we all look
Be
at the
nice to live,
ceiling.
no, it would, it'd be nice to live stream everything.
I know.
Any public comments? Yes, sir.
Where do we stand on that building? It's supposed to be some kind of store. See,
Ivan's.
You're on the planning commission, you should know better than that.
You're zoning board.
I see he's building on the outside, it looks like he's building onto the building. And we told him he couldn't do any more building to the outside until the main building was finished and operational.
Well,
That'd be true, because he's putting,
we discussed this
Couple meetings
few
ago.
meetings ago, and the building inspector had issued him a permit for a extension and stuff, and we weren't happy about it because it was not supposed to be done. So we have told the town hall that no permits would be issued from this point forward until the building is complete.
Yeah, because we refused to issue him, and we told him, because he wanted to build onto it, and we said, you haven't finished the building you're starting. Finish that first, then come back in front of us and with your plans for what you want to build onto it.
Yeah.
Now I see he's building onto that, and the
Well,
building still
that was,
isn't finished.
that was part of the problem was that there, according to the information that we got at the meeting, was that he had fulfilled his obligations
Right.
in the original permit for the building to look like. Well, I'm just saying, this is what we're told, and this is what we don't have paperwork on to move forward with it, so we're kind of stuck with what we're doing here, and with the building inspector issuing another permit to add on to the building that he's already got.
Which goes for another year.
2 lean-tos,
well,
wasn't
there
it?
should be
But he
minutes,
shouldn't have been
because I
able
take
to
them.
issue that.
There is minutes, Evelyn.
There's minutes. I take the minutes.
He knew exactly what was going on, and he turned around and issued the permit anyway,
Part of the problem.
without
Yeah,
coming to the council
The
first.
building inspector should be able to overrule the planning commission when they tell someone they can't.
The planning commission has no authority over the building inspector.
That's why we referred him to the town council, because he kept coming back.
I'd be honest with you, I'd like the guy sitting in front of me so we can ask him questions, be honest with you. But I haven't had that, we haven't had that
Opportunity.
luxury yet,
Nope.
because,
Well,
I
I'll tell you
mean,
what,
this is
he's in front of you,
ridiculous
he's not gonna tell you
that it's
anything.
gone this long without, and
Because I don't think he knows what he's gonna do.
Definitely a foobar.
Yeah, 'cause you only see him working
this
a
is
couple hours
definitely
at a
one of those
time.
situations that I'd like to talk to him himself, but he is not, he's never been in here to actually
Every time
address.
we've requested
Well,
it.
he's got it made now, he's got another year. He was issued
Yeah.
a permit when he wasn't supposed to get one, so we're kind of stuck with that one now.
Yep, gave him another year.
You won't get any more.
Hopefully it'll be finished by then.
Well, I mean, the thing is I would like to know what his intentions are, what this plans to be, what he's bringing into the town, so that
I don't think
we
he
know
knows.
exactly what it is, but it is something that
I was told the extensions now is for some kind of
Some
farmer's
produce.
market kind of
yeah,
thing.
some little produce thing or
He told us it
whatever.
was for the kitchen.
For the kitchen.
He was gonna add a kitchen to the side of it.
For the produce.
He was gonna, when he appeared before us, he was gonna add put some games for the kids. at
Oh, my
pool
Lord.
table.
Change-
And
sorry,
now he's changed that.
I don't think he knows what he's
Isn't there a
doing.
bathtub in there or something?
Yeah, he's got
Isn't there
a,
a bathtub?
Yes,
So maybe a
he
quarter of
does.
it's gonna be a
Yes, he
spa, a
does.
quarter of
Yes,
it's
he
gonna be a
does.
grocery store, a quarter of it's gonna be a pizza shop. It's just gonna be all
yeah,
around.
he's got a bathroom with a tub and everything, so I think it's gonna be a gentleman's club.
Good Lord. Any other public comments? Motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion we adjourn.
We're adjourned.